Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends with poles and friends with holes, as another long, insufferable week comes to an end, that means only one thing, and that it's time for another amazing, mind-blowing, awe-inspiring, life-affirming episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour.
That amount of oversell I haven't heard in a long fucking time.
I'm getting lubed up, man.
Yeah,
Got a ton of stuff to talk about. We got
I didn't wear my boots today, so I can't walk through that level of bullshit.
Man, I've been practicing. We got the last 3 episodes of Super Dimensional Century Orguss 02. I don't know why it's 02, but it is, even though it's just 2. But
in
at
the
any
title
rate,
cards, it's just 2. Why it's 02 in the title, who knows? Japan does mysterious things.
But I like to say 02. Makes it sound cooler. But before any of that, here's Sig with the news.
Yeah, man. I got news. Lots of news. So, biggest news of the week, I mean, kind of hard to ignore, is looks like everything's gone through on Sony's acquisition of Crunchyroll from AT&T. $1.175 billion, which...
That seems like a lot of money for like a
that
failing
seems like a money
streaming
laundering.
service.
Yeah, like a money laundering thing. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. So, you know, it's going to merge theoretically with Funimation. Maybe not. Who knows? It's like what Disney does with Hulu and Disney Plus. Like, you figure they would have put those two
Why would it
things
even
together
matter?
yet?
Like, Funimation had pretty much everything. Crunchy had less and less stuff every
Crunchy
month.
was really dropping off with releases.
And all their, like, Crunchy originals were...
We are not talking about fucking High Guardian Spice.
Oh, we are, but not yet.
We're not talking about it now.
No, I mean, even the stuff they brought over, you know, that they just, like, stamped their thing on.
originals.
Some of
that
it
weren't
was
really
good,
originals.
but,
Sure.
like, you know, I don't think anybody cares
Anyway,
enough that they can't just get rolled into Funimation.
You know, I'm always of two minds about these kind of things. I mean, in this case, they're both not great companies, so I'm not really looking forward to it.
Oh, don't give a shit. And they're two crappy companies being, like, bought by the crappiest company.
Sony's too censorious now, which is, why the fuck did you ever move your entertainment shit over to California, Sony? Should have kept that shit in Japan. You'd be doing a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, they're woking themselves to death.
It's like there's money to be made over here anymore. Like,
Good God, you're not wrong. So anyway, we'll see what comes of this. Like I was going to say, I'm always of two minds because, you know, the fracturing of streaming services where you have 8 million of them doesn't really work. Having just one doesn't really work. You know, we're going to have to see how this one plays out. What I'm starting to think, though, and more to come on that, but what I'm starting to think is, and this leads into our next story, is that Japan may start getting wise about this and start distributing directly globally instead. So why go to a middleman who will take some of your money when you could just do it all yourself?
it's like business 101.
It's pretty much business 101. So this is Shueisha, their Manga Plus service with, you know, Shonen Jump, Jump Square, Shonen Jump Plus. It's now going to be available in every language you could desire. Well, maybe not every language, but Thai, Spanish, English, Portuguese, Indonesian, Russian. Maybe not every series, and it's going to be available globally, it seems. At least, you know, as globally as it can be.
I don't remember what company it was, but there's another big company doing that too. They're just doing like the direct.
I think it might have been Kodokawa. I think it might be right,
but you know, check me on that.
It's good to see. It's good to see that they're starting to do these things directly instead. You know, the licensing hell of anime is such a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
And now that Western distributors and licensors are starting to go back to the old way of censoring things more,
which is
the very
bullshit.
old way, which is bullshit. I never thought I'd see this again, but here
all it
we
did was
are.
cost them money, and all it's doing is costing them money now.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. And it certainly doesn't work in, you know, the days when people can very easily sail the high seas and get wherever the hell they want for free. Like, you have to give them what they want and give it to them conveniently, so they'll give you their money.
It has to be like cheap and convenient enough Like, to
Yeah.
be my laziness, like, I don't want to have to look for
And,
it.
well, and you know, I think most people don't want to sail the high seas if they have the money not to.
No, I'd
right?
rather give it to the companies.
They'd
And
rather-
just have it conveniently and legally.
And now, you know, they're starting to do more of it. So good to see. You know, I remember, God, years ago, Bandai was going to do a streaming service, or well, they have one in Japan, but they were going to let that come over,
yeah, I
at least to
remember.
the U.S. Never happened.
Never happened,
It
yeah.
had so many shows on. I would have paid for that.
Oh,
and
hell
at the
yeah.
time,
'Cause they have,
you know,
like, everything.
this is before Right Stuff was releasing every Gundam series in existence,
Yeah,
right?
it's, like, a lot easier to get now.
So they had a lot of stuff. They had, like, you know, Double Zeta at the time that you couldn't get anywhere else except really shitty, like, you know, Chinese translations of it.
Oh, almost every single Gundam series besides the original one, I watched, like, a fan sub of, you know what I mean?
You couldn't get a lot of them. Well, besides the OVAs, the original, I did wait for Zeta when Zeta finally came out over here. But after that, yeah, like Victory
Oh,
and
Double Zeta was, like, the Chinese
Victory and
fucking-
Double Zeta and Turn A and
You get
you
the
know.
Chinese bootleg subs and shit.
Exactly.
Everybody's name is
and they're not good.
Zhang Ding.
Gundam X, like, you know, there were a
Yeah.
lot of those shows where, you know, they weren't available over here, so you didn't really have much of a choice. And you'd hope you got a fan translation because that's at least better than the shoddy, you know, Hong Kong translations.
Listen, everyone's
but-
name is Zhang Ding or Joe, and you'll suck it.
Yeah, Regardless,
Remember the Tobakage one?
so Shueisha doing some direct manga distribution online. Like I said, I think you're going to start seeing more of this as, you know, especially if Sony starts, you know, freaking lording their power over everybody and trying to extract more money out of these companies and changing up the you know, the distribution models and maybe not distributing things or censoring things. Like,
Yeah, don't fuck with the product.
yeah, not smart. So we'll see where that goes. Let's see. Next story here we got is another streaming thing. So Redbox now is adding Retro Crush. So they join Peacock, which added Retro Crush a while back. Pluto TV's got Retro Crush now. So good to see. You know, I like High Dive. That's a good one. But Retro Crush has some cool stuff on
Why
it.
the fuck
and-
is Pluto TV so fucking based?
I don't know.
It's like nothing but Chuck Norris movies all day, every day.
Chuck Norris movies, like Shaw Brothers, like all sorts of crazy
Yeah, they got all
stuff.
kind of crazy shit.
So yeah, you know, available on, you know, all the things you'd expect it to be on: Fire TV, Roku, Apple, Smart TVs,
Blah, blah, blah,
Android,
blah.
whatever. Right. So good to see. Older stuff. I mean, it's ad supported now. You know, I'd like to see a non-ad
Yeah.
premium service.
Yeah, I would always pay a few bucks. To
You know,
get
I
rid
don't
of fucking
mind.
commercials.
Again, you know, it does add up eventually, but I don't mind paying $5 a month and not have to watch ads.
Oh hell yeah.
But I don't know which. You know, some companies probably don't do it because it's probably nowhere near as profitable. Probably
Yeah,
make more
no,
money
that's
with
true.
the ads. But who knows?
Yeah, because you can only get $5-10 a month, and I'm sure the ad revenue is way more than that. So.
Yeah, and as these, you know, as I said earlier, you know, as these streaming services multiply, it's going to get harder and harder.
Yeah, definitely.
But as you know, the mainstream ones drive me away from them with their, you know, promoting of pedophilia and who knows what else.
Fucking trash.
Thanks Netflix. You know, you start dropping them or firing Gina Carano. So see you, Disney Plus. Well, now I've saved some money, so now I can go to some other streaming services. So
HBO is gonna fucking eat everybody up eventually.
that's what seems to be happening.
It's like the '80s all over again when HBO was the king of cable.
yeah, it's interesting because they do some woke stuff, but I don't know, they haven't pushed it as hard as you would think, and they haven't.
I don't care if they have some. I like
They did a little too
If-
much catering. I did cancel them last year when they started censoring episodes of things.
that. I fucking hate.
When they censored a goddamn episode of frickin' Boondocks, like there's so much wrong with what you just did. that
Aaron Magruder's
I-
pretty black.
I
and
don't
you
even
wanna,
know what to tell you.
like,
Yeah,
Get into
whatever.
censoring.
We're not
black
going to get into
creators.
politics here, but it's ridiculous. So, regardless, you got Retro Crush. Got a lot of cool old shit on it. Now more widely available. It's on Redbox if you use that. It's also available on Peacock, which I know a lot more people probably have, although not a ton. Wrestling fans probably do because WWE stuff got moved on there. But then they censored a bunch of stuff off of there. So I don't know. The streaming market it's freaking chaos right now. It's going to probably continue to be chaos as things break up and reconsolidate, and
Yeah, it's gonna be like this for years.
it'll
probably.
be a few years yet, I think, before things reconsolidate into another model that's looks a hell of a lot like Cable, and then we'll all wonder what the hell happened. I feel like this is all three kingdoms. Like the Empire, once united, must divide. Once divided, must unite.
Yeah, man. It's
know?
like I said, it's just like Cable in the 80s. The same fucking thing.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from
and eventually
land.
everything will be home shopping networks because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from the land of streaming. Looks like they've announced the director for the live-action My Hero Academia film that Hollywood's doing, which I didn't even know they were doing. Yeah, that's the right response. You should laugh at it.
I don't want to know about it. It's going to be terrible.
So Shinsuke Sato, who directed the live-action Bleach, which Kingdom, which I keep hearing Kingdom's not terrible, but I have never watched it.
Oh, that's the one Sean's always
and Alice in Borderland, which that I'm not going to blame the director on that one. I thought it was that we watched one episode of it. It was
it was just weird.
Incredibly stupid.
I don't know. It was just kind of dumb.
But
I like the idea.
A lot of people
it,
like. I like the idea of it too, but it just seemed
it didn't play.
Yeah, it wasn't working
for me anyway. If you like it, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm not. This feels like it'll be another one of those silly like Death Note, just not really that good kind of live action adaptations. But
they don't really.
We'll see. I mean, to do it right. One, I don't think Hollywood's capable of it anymore. And two, you'd have to pour so much fucking money into it. There's no way. Because, I mean...
It would have to get like a Marvel budget.
Exactly. A Marvel or DC movie budget. And they're not going to do that. I mean, I highly doubt they're going to do that. Then again, they throw hundreds of millions of dollars at things. But...
They spent money on that Ghost of the Shell movie, right?
A little bit. I think it was like 85 mil or something. But... My Hero Academia would cost a lot more than Ghost in the Shell would. Plus, they toned down a lot of stuff in that movie.
There's so many fucking characters. Like,
yeah,
they all do crazy shit that you would have to,
But you can cheese it a little. I don't know. I'm not that interested in it. I don't really care. I mean,
I hate live.
It's got an excellent manga. It's got an excellent anime. I mean, I got two forms in which to, freaking take in the story. So why the hell do I need a live action version too?
I hate live action versions of everything.
It doesn't.
The question is, will it suck worse than live action?
That's not true.
Avatar?
You're lying right now.
Oh my God, I'm fucking full of shit.
You are. You're full of shit. Those Genshin movies are pretty damn good.
Yes, that is like the one shining spot. Like those Genshin movies are fucking excellent.
I thought they were better than the anime series,
Even
personally.
fucking Uncle Mark was like, wow, that was a good movie. And he's old and hates anime.
Yeah. No, I thought they did a really good job with those. But you're right. That is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. Hey.
But there's been other ones.
When I'm wrong in that regard, like, awesome.
I mean, not necessarily manga was a book, but, All You Need Is Kill and Edge of Tomorrow or whatever one of its 50 other names is.
Yeah, as much as I fucking hate Tom Cruise, that's a pretty damn good movie.
It's a good movie.
It made me eat shit.
So, yeah, it can happen. Anyway, not really looking forward to it, but, interesting news nonetheless.
Yep.
Do with it what you will. Continuing on My Hero Academia news, I thought this was interesting. So, apparently the cinema audience for it, which the movie's doing pretty well over there, World Heroes Mission. Don't know. I mean, I'm still behind on the anime itself, so got to catch up.
I think I'm caught up.
But the film's audience was overwhelmingly female. So, no female main character, no feminine agenda, no bullshit.
No, man, there's just pretty anime boys.
Yeah, right? And it's well written and it's a good story.
Shocking.
So shocking. So Demon Slayer, I think there's been similar things that happened with that too, which is unsurprising. Like, write good stories and people will watch it.
Pretty much.
And you don't need representation for it to matter.
It's not fucking rocket surgery.
It really isn't. So, yeah. I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit of news. It's also doing pretty well in the box office, so good to see. So anyway, moving on. We've got another convention update going on here. So
convention update.
Pennsylvania's had not been to this con or seen it or heard about it, but PsychoCon canceled 2021 and all future events.
Forever.
Reading the story here, this may be one of those situations where COVID-19 is an excuse and not necessarily the reason for it. So they say it's the reason. I'm sure it didn't help. Response to the beer bug, I'm sure, caused problems. But it seems like they had other issues going on behind the scenes anyway.
Yeah, that happens.
I can't imagine it must be easy to get people to work these things now. They relied on a lot of volunteers to begin with. that community seems to be
almost 100%.
exceptionally risk averse and echo chambered, such that,
nobody's going to want to go.
they're not likely to want. Yeah, that is a community that is more likely to want to avoid the scene, right?
Yeah, I mean,
right now, because they're,
as we've said before, you get sick after a con anyway. So,
yes, it's a very,
it's germy.
Yeah, they're germy to begin with, so a lot of people are not going to want to take the risk. I personally think that's not a stance I have, but I get it. So, looks like they're going under. I don't know if they'll come back in 2022 or later, but it doesn't look good.
A lot of those small cons are just going to fold.
Yeah, and I think other ones will pop up, and some of them will fold in places like New York probably has a lot of cons, but with New York City kind of spiraling down the toilet right now, and Chicago doing the same, you're going to see a lot of these cons probably move. If they're not locked into long-term leases, you're probably going to see them move or go under and get replaced by ones in other places that are a little friendlier.
Yeah.
Places like Tennessee that, maybe didn't have a lot before, you're probably going to start to see more. Texas, obviously, Florida, obviously. I mean, Florida's always been huge for conventions, so that's not surprising. California used to have a lot. I think you're going to see a lot of those either.
A lot of those
go
cons
away.
in like New York and big cities, there was an epic problem with like homeless people just hassling the fuck out of people.
And
so I mean, it's like 1,000 times as bad.
And they're kind of a pain in the ass. They really are. Like, it's nice to be in a city so that you can, you can get stuff, but it's better in a not quite as big of a city, right? Like, going to one in Philly. Philly's not completely terrible, but the homeless problem is there. And it's not in the nicest section of town.
Just shadowboxing, son.
But then you go, like Anime Boston, which is to me a better section of town.
Oh, definitely.
And the city's not
right near
quite
the
as
Prudential Center, and
the city's not quite as big. So, I find that to
conveniently
be a little
right
easier to
near
navigate.
Chinatown, so you can get good Chinese food.
There's excellent Chinese food. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do think you're going to see a big shift. I mean, you see a big shift in a lot of things because of everything going on right now. But convention scene especially, I think, is going to really
I think next season will
meld.
tell the tale. Kind of.
I agree. What happens next year will tell you, because I do think things will have completely pivoted by then. So
yeah,
and early enough so that people can plan. But who knows? Who knows? I'm not
and you
gonna
have
read my
to set
crystal ball.
those things up so far in advance.
That's
booking
the
guests,
killer.
like, all that shit. So
That's the killer.
A lot of parts.
And when you got cities flipping on a dime, what the hell they're going to do
Yeah,
and
it's
restrict?
tough. It makes it really difficult.
It's difficult, which is why, again, I think you're going to see them disappear from places that flip flop and go to places that are a little more stalwart in their policies. So, somewhat related convention news. So, Otakon has announced their numbers for this year. Said 25,543 unique memberships. Down from 2019, which they had over 28,000. I don't know how many people actually showed up, how good that actually is. They don't have gate numbers for each day or anything. So
how much was it in like 08?
I'll just say, I don't know. I remember
being there, and there's a lot of fucking people.
I remember.
I just remember them announcing a number, and I was like, holy shit, how does that
lot.
many people even fucking fit in here?
I haven't, we haven't been in forever, and I haven't been since it left Baltimore, because I really have no desire to go to it in D.C.
Nah.
D.C. is just not as
Baltimore's
fun of a city to me.
Fun. Like, that area of Baltimore is
That
fun.
area of Baltimore has more to do, I
DC
think.
is not fun at all.
It's not my jam. If you like it, hey, great, but it's not my jam. So, despite the mask mandate, they did not have any sort of vaccination mandates or anything, but despite the mask mandate, they had good attendance. So, I mean, it may not have been great. It is down. It's hard to judge right now, right? Because, we already talked about some people being afraid, not wanting to back out. And I could see message board evidence of that, but the internet's not real life, right? And
there's a lot of people just eager
but there's
to
a
do
lot
shit, too.
Exactly. But there's the other side where there's a lot of people eager to do shit. So I don't know if that number is good or bad. And I do think when we finally get numbers for a different convention, Anime Matsuri, we'll have a better idea. So Anime Matsuri, similar size convention, judging by guest attendance. If the numbers are to be believed, Anime Matsuri in 2019 was 29,000 to Otakon's 28 some odd. So very similar in size. We don't have numbers for this year. A lot of people anecdotally that went said it was packed. Anecdotally there were more than they had in 2019, but I don't know. They have not. I have not seen yet anyway them publish numbers. I mean, judging by the number of hit pieces that have been run against the convention by a bunch of leftist media outlets.
Journalists.
Yeah,
quote
quote
unquote.
journalists. They're probably doing something right.
Yeah, you would expect.
And them having, Vic Mignogna on certainly didn't make anybody happy because he polarizes the shit out of everybody. And that's not a debate I'm going to get in the middle of. So we'll see. More to come. If we do get numbers, we'll report on them. Because I'm very curious to see what happens here, because you kind of have the dichotomy there where, a convention in a place that is
very unregulated, and DC, which is like the belly of the beast.
Exactly. So it'll be curious to see. I mean,
if it even matters.
I will say the time of year for both dissuades me to go to either place. Like August in DC is like swampy and soupy. And, July, middle end of July, and freaking Houston ain't much better.
Summer in the downtown of any fucking city is just
It's bad. Never mind if you're in Texas or in D.C.
What if you're wearing some elaborate costume?
Oh, God, misery. Bleh. So, we'll see. We shall see. Anyway.
Whatever. I want to go to Florida or Vegas or someplace in like February. That's what I'm talking about.
That would be better. Yeah, and I don't know what's going on. Vegas keeps flip-flopping too. Hopefully that'll stop and we'll see. A nice Vegas convention would be nice.
Oh, man. I need a vacation.
Would be good. Anyway, that's the news for today.
The news.
So what do you want to talk about next? Perhaps it's the...
First. Okay, we'll go over this first because it's not that complicated and it's quick. It just... Oh, man, it galls me. The difference between quote-unquote, I'm using air quotes, Western anime, right? So, they finally are going to poop out High Guardian Spice. And, I don't know, now that, Crunchy's been bought up, I don't know if they'll keep doing, actually original produced stuff, but it doesn't really matter. So, anyway, they're calling High Guardian Spice a Western anime for some reason.
Which, what the fuck does that really even mean?
Yeah. So, basically... Like he was just explaining, Sony owns Funimation. They just bought Crunchy, and which they bought from Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers,
AT&T, yep.
Yeah, they own Cartoon Network, and now Cartoon Network is using their Toonami brand to bring, they've been bringing over anime forever, except now they're branding it as, Western anime, and making more of a big deal out of, their
I mean,
production.
they've funded stuff in the past. I mean, they
funded
which
has
Big
been
O
going on for
Season 2.
literally 20 years.
Yeah, way
and
back.
It's the same dude running Toonami that's been running it for 20 years.
Is it still the same guy?
Yeah, and he's like one of the co-founders of William Street.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the same dude. He's completely in charge of it. Always done a good job. But anyway, High Guardian Spice has nothing to do with anime. It's not even done in the art style. Every single person that works on it is un-Japanese and very American.
Yeah, that's what doesn't make any damn sense.
Whereas Fina Pirate Princess, it's just an anime. It's written by Japanese people. It's produced, everything. It's just being bankrolled by, Warner, Warner, Cartoon Network, Toonami, or whatever. So,
that's very...
complete,
Big O Season 2.
Yeah, whatever.
Right?
But
Same thing.
Yeah. But to call both things Western anime, first of all, the term Western anime, anime to me is like bourbon. It has to be made in a certain place under certain conditions with certain...
Well, to me, it has to originate from Japan.
That's what I mean.
The animators are all going to be in freaking Korea, right? But...
Well... The bulk of the animation, yeah. But I mean, it's going to be written, produced, whatever, in Japan. Yeah. And whether it's brought over here later, it makes no difference. That's anime. High Guardian Spice is just a shitty American cartoon. Stop saying, stop trying to make it use the word anime to sell.
I'd give them slack if it was in the style of...
Yeah, but it's not even an art style.
Something and I don't think this is as close, but something like Castlevania is certainly more in the style of anime.
And it's based on a fucking Japanese game. So,
yeah.
I mean,
right.
It makes a little more sense.
But I'd give them more leeway for that if you wanted to call that a Western anime.
Yeah. It's just dick riding the term anime just to get your shit
branding.
To sell.
It's shitty
dumb,
corporate branding. Right? It doesn't matter what the fuck they do. Ain't nobody going to watch High Guardian Spice because it's hot trash.
Yeah. And I'm sure I watched it actually, by the time anybody hears this, the first episode will be out. But I mean, it looked decent. Looked like fun pirate bullshit.
No,
I'll watch it. You know
we'll see.
I mean? But I mean, it just looked like stock anime, you know. So the term Western anime is crap. It's either American garbage that has nothing to do with Japan in any way, or it's just anime that they, you know, pay, the American companies pay for. The end.
Yeah, I don't. It's just branding. It's stupid branding. And like I said, if they really think that's going to get people to watch that piece of shit that they're putting out, it doesn't make sense. Like, you didn't have to call fucking Castlevania Western anime to get people to watch it. People just watched it because it was decent.
Castlevania.
Right? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm not here to crap on High Guardian Spice. It's just like,
oh no, I'm here to crap on High Guardian Spice. It's
whatever.
clearly trash.
I don't care. I never even looked at the trailer.
It's trash. It's made by people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I've seen enough of the artwork, and I looked up who did it, and it is on Japanese.
It's woke garbage, and it's
whatever.
Poorly written. It's ugh.
Well, everything's fucking poorly written.
Vomitous.
Now, but let's not get into it. Regardless, that's my beef of the day.
It's the animation version of like the American comic book scene. Hot garbage.
Basically, yeah.
Mainstream comic book scene.
And that's a good segue into fan polls. Dun, dun, dun. There's like so much kerfuffle over like, oh my God, why does manga outsell American comic books? Why is anime so popular?
It's so impossible to figure out.
It's very fun. I've like way smarter people than me that know way more about the comic book industry have done in-depth videos on this, and they've never mentioned. I mean, they mention it, but they mention it in way too greater detail. It's very simple. Like all the Shonen Jump magazines and all that shit, they do fan polls every fucking week. Who's your favorite character? Do you like the storyline? Like, who's your favorite couple?
Because they're trying to make money.
Yes.
And the most amount of money possible.
And by making money equals pleasing your customer.
The agenda is to make money, and the way you make more money is by pleasing your customers.
It's just so simple. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's ruthless meritocracy. Are you good? You get a shot. Does your shit sell? You get to keep selling it. Does it not sell? You're out. You're done. They don't keep pushing creators based on check in the box diversity quotas or anything else. Mm-hmm. You have to sell. You have to have a good idea. It has to be interesting enough. It has to generate interest, and then it has to continue to push sales.
Yep. And they don't give a shit what you
and sales of everything, because they ruthlessly merchandise the fuck out of everything.
Yeah. And they don't give a shit where you come from, what you look like, blah blah blah. There was a fucking white American dude that worked on fucking Fist of the North Star in the 80s.
Yeah.
I remember Will was telling me about it, and I looked it up.
Not surprising.
Yeah. I think he still lives over there. But, like, you know, they don't give a shit if you want to fucking work, like, absurd hours and, like, all this other stuff.
We won't talk about the craziness that goes on over there. But, yeah, I mean, it's very simple, right? It's meritocracy. It's
the only way to get a good product.
You know,
sorry, but it just is. Like,
what's that? Hire on merit, retain on sales, right?
Yeah, just people who are good at things should be doing them.
That's what it is, right? And when you value quality, right? When you value good storytelling, when you actually have people who want to tell good stories and don't specifically have, well, let me take a little different take at this, because normally people say, well, they don't have an agenda. That's not necessarily true, right? Because there's a lot of messaging in anime, in manga. Of course there is, right? Like Gundam is fiercely anti-war, right? There's an anti-war message here. Well, you see Gundam anyway.
Yep.
Right? There's messaging all over the place, but the people are competent because it's a ruthless meritocracy. So they can weave the narrative together and have that in there, and it's not ham-handed and terribly written.
It's not obtrusive.
And it doesn't offend you. It doesn't make you just tune out because you think you're being preached at. Right?
Precisely.
And that's the problem with Western comic books and not all Western comic books. Again, I'm talking about the mainstream scene here. And
Marvel, DC, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And the Image at this point, I mean, all of them. And, you know, mainstream animation, right? It's the same idea. Merit doesn't matter. You know, money, sales don't matter. Are you getting the message across? Are you checking the right boxes? Are you making Twitter happy? Are you getting the right amount of impressions? Are you generating interest? It doesn't matter. It's like a dog, right? It doesn't matter whether the interest is good or bad, right? As long as you're getting attention.
Yeah, that's true.
It's great.
But that doesn't make money.
And, you know, there's a whole industry built up around it with all these shitty collapsing fan quote unquote fan sites and urinalists and all these other things that, you know, there's a whole industry there, right? And the money keeps getting drained out and they keep getting poorer and poorer and keep having to go get other jobs, right? And, you know, I really think you're going to see a full collapse here soon because it cannot sustain itself any longer.
Everyone who is talented and propping up the industry is left.
They're all leaving. You know, Substack's sucking people up now. And
it's funny, get that Substack.
You know,
cash.
a lot of people are going to, you know, Kickstarter or Indiegogo.
Yeah, like if you're an old guy who's big deal in the 90s and 2000s, like you can easily just make enough money.
Yeah, unless you've cracked into unless you're like Mark Miller and you've like cracked into Hollywood, like legitimately and made a ton of money and not just got your, you know, $10,000 option deal where you're just gonna, you know, sit around and, you know, make nothing forever. You know, you're better off either on Indiegogo or, you know, if you could get that Substack money, sure, great. Or whatever other platform it might be, right? What was it? Scott Snyder with, is that Comixology or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
That he jumped to? Like, hey, look, good on you, right? Like,
get that Amazon money.
If you're somewhat decent, you can make the money go. But I mean, that's not an arc, right? That's not going to sustain you for forever.
And who knows if Substack's even going to pop
not.
off for comics? Like, it's a completely untested thing.
You know,
what I mean?
This is going to be an industry in turmoil for a while. Animation and comics, right? And animation costs a hell of a lot more, so comics is kind of the cauldron of ideas, right? So, it's a lot cheaper to produce. So you're going to see that be tumultuous for a while. It just is. You know, you're going to see the mainstream break apart. You're going to see it maybe get sold, maybe go under entirely.
Oh, they've been floating, like, selling DC for ages.
Oh, yeah. Marvel, too, is now starting to look like it might go that way, too. Granted, all these companies will retain all the rights.
They keep threatening to stop publishing, too, or just go all digital.
But, I mean, it doesn't – at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. You need the comics to exist. Again, this is back to the fan polling, right? Bring it right back in, right? You fan poll because it's an incredibly cheap way to figure out what people actually like, right? And if you do it in such a way that it can't be botted – then it's pretty good, right? So you can't just do a Twitter poll because that's obviously not going to work because it'll get botted straight to hell.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, Marvel or Warner Brothers, right, or, you know, Disney, Marvel, I should say, you need the comic books to exist, not to push agenda and garbage. You need them to actually go out there and see what people freaking like, what sells, what doesn't sell, what characters pop off. And then you can turn those into more expensive things like movies and rake in the movie money. Well, right? And you can merchandise the shit out of them.
They've gotten so far away from even knowing what people want to watch.
They don't even care.
It's just panic reboots.
They're insulated because they think the internet is real life. They think Twitter is real life. They don't get it. And they thought the gravy train was endless because the Marvel movies were making money. Like, the Marvel movies were at least competent adaptations of characters that everybody liked. And the second, or didn't really know about, and they made them like because they were competently written. But most of them were characters that were well liked, at least by comic book fans over the years, right? So even if they weren't in the normie sphere, right? Like Black Panther wasn't as much in the normie sphere.
Nah.
But comic book fans like Black Panther, right? Like, it's a known character. It's a well-liked character. You can extrapolate that out that, yeah, if you introduce that character to normies, they're probably going to like him too. Because comic book fans aren't just a bunch of fucking weirdos. So if you have, you know, all these characters now that you're trying to push that no one freaking likes, it's all artificial garbage. You know, it started with Captain Marvel. People are like, what is this? You know, some people went, what's this unlikable trash? Said, no, you're all bigots and you know, you're all a bunch of misogynists.
The character could have been fine. It's just like a movie.
Poorly written.
Well, it's like watching the second Suicide Squad movie makes you instantly realize why you didn't like the first one. Because the first one was just like, I don't know why, but I'm just like, this isn't that good.
But the first one's interesting, too, because the first one got so studio meddled with, it's hard to tell whether
but
it was incompetence.
There was almost zero, like, legit character arcs.
But, like, Captain Marvel?
And everyone in the second Suicide Squad had, like, it was a very simple, very, like, quick character arc.
You
it's
had
like,
James
I was
Gunn
kind
do
of a
it.
dick, now I'm not a dick. The end.
Say what the fuck you want about James Gunn. The man is competent, right?
Yeah.
He's more than competent, right? He knows what he's doing. And he didn't get interfered with as much, you could tell.
Nah.
So
I
then
think they
you
just
see,
kind of gave up.
But then, you know, something like Captain Marvel, like that writer and director, they weren't ready for that. And, you know, Marvel got arrogant, right? They had hit it off with picking up directors and writers that were
unknown, untested.
Except
They just got
They
lucky.
they disappeared off their own ass and started pulling ones in that were really unknown. And it's like, you don't really know whether they're good or
It's
not.
because there's only so many to go around. You know what I mean?
This would have never happened in the manga anime industry, right?
No.
Like, no. You get your, let's say it's manga, right? You get your, they do writing contests, or, manga contests. You might get your like one shot in Shonen Jump.
Yep.
Or, a Shonen Jump adjacent magazine. Probably not even main Shonen Jump.
Oh, definitely.
Is it good? Do people like it? Okay. Then maybe you'll get a trial run, right? And then maybe if that blows up, and it's a whole different model, right? It's not like you're getting a whole book. You don't publish a whole volume of manga.
No.
You publish one fucking chapter.
Yep.
And let's say you're good and you get in Shonen Jump. You publish your one chapter. Okay. Is that good? Is that selling? The fans like it? Let's find out. Let's do another chapter. And then that's going to continue your whole damn career.
Oh, yeah. It's a
right?
legendary grind.
And if you start to drop off, you're going to get yeeted.
oh, yeah.
You're out.
Immediately.
Right? And, I don't know if a lot of people understand that. Like, it's, because you go into Barnes & Noble, you just see volumes of things. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how that industry works.
Like every fucking volume you put out is like a trial run to keep
Yes.
it's
every chapter is a trial run.
like
It's
they don't give a fuck. It'll just die.
They'll eat you out of there. So anyway, I think we've talked about this enough. We beat it to death. It's clear what needs to happen, right? If the American animation industry and comic book industry wants to survive, you need to make it a ruthless meritocracy and make money the top of the list. Money.
Yep.
And pleasing your customers to make money.
Also,
not trying to please weirdos to make money.
it's like the manga and anime thing where there's like specific subgenres for like if you don't want 40-year-old white boys to buy all the comics, you have to make comics for other demographics.
It's not all superheroes.
You can't
right?
just take a superhero comic and make it for another demographic that doesn't exist.
It's not. I mean, it's a whole different culture, so I get it. But I mean, it's not just one genre. Like, granted, that's selling the American comic industry a little short because it does have some nuance there, but it's nowhere near as broad of a genre in its genres as Japan is.
Yeah, you could just start small though. Like, you don't have to just like shove it up everybody's ass. You could just be like,
create new characters.
These, like,
Don't tell me new characters can't fucking sell because you're full of shit. When Image came out with a bunch of new characters in the 90s, they sold because they were decent.
Oh, it's about tons of Image.
Right?
Shit
Dark
back in the
Horse did
90s.
the same thing. Like, Hellboy sold. That's a new character. You can make fucking new characters. It's just when you have a bunch of incompetent writers that can't even handle existing characters, they sure shit aren't going to make new characters that are any good.
Pretty much.
Anyway, that's all I got to say
See
about
how
that.
hot that King Spawn fucking first volume sold? Like 500,000 copies or something.
We'll see how many actually sell through.
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty
it's going to
impressive.
blow away anything else in the American industry for sure.
I'll check it out. I'm down with a little new Spawn.
All right, so I think it's time
It is time.
to send to the dustiness of Orguss 02.
Hell yeah.
End of Orguss 02.
I'm excited.
So anyway, so second three. That doesn't sound right. Last
6
three
episodes. The
yeah.
last 3, yeah.
Last half of Orguss 02. So when we last left off, main character and the Nadaruma was the girl he was getting out of there with her crazy head tail things and psychic powers.
Tentacles.
Tentacles, head tentacles. Had escaped from the
Yes, they just escaped Zafran.
the
other
evil
country.
empire, which they aren't really that evil. Back to Revelia, which is their own, and here it picks up right from there. You got Nadaruma, who's everybody's looking for on both sides, right?
Yeah, it's like the bigger the robots are, they need like, I'm sure we went over this last time. They need these like psychic guys to help pilot it, and they burn out.
But they're called seekers. Like the regular psychics are not that great, and they burn them out like they're freaking the emperor of mankind.
Yeah,
like,
but
burning through
Naruma
psychers.
has like special tentacle powers, and she can do it without burning out.
Whoa.
It's not a hentai, I swear.
It is not. Anyway, so, the first episode of the 3, so episode 4, deals primarily with, trying to keep her hidden away. And then she obviously isn't. She gets captured. Then, how you got to rescue her. And then it also deals with the subplot, which kind of starts to become the main plot, which is, what's going on in the kingdom. With the brother who was pretending to be derpy.
Yeah.
Right. And the queen who had, poisoned the king and what's going to fall out from that. And the minister who was acting as regent, who's, he's just incompetent and evil. And he's banging the queen. Yeah. So how is that going to fall out? And, you find out that our boy Manning, who's the asshole, you can't ever figure out whether he's good or evil or what, who had left Lean behind, the actual main character. In the last episode, he's been working for the brother.
Yes, you finally figure out what he's actually up to. He's been working for the derpy brother the entire time because he was pretending to be derpy, so, the fucking queen didn't try to kill him.
And, he finally makes his move. He makes his move and, kills the queen's son, who's the current king, but...
Lespay, I think.
Yeah, and then the regent, who's the minister, he gets off, too.
In dramatic fashion.
Yep. And Lean does rescue Nadaruma and escape. And there is a really cool scene when they're escaping where, Lean gets himself shot in the eyes, which is
like the door.
Brutal.
They're trying to escape, and like the doors.
There's a giant iron gate.
There's a giant iron door. It's two of them. They're sliding closed, and like, his childhood friend, the girl.
Yep.
There was he hung out with in the earlier episodes, like
Ty.
I don't remember her name.
I don't remember. No, Ty's the robot. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. But she feels bad because she kind of got.
She basically turned in
Nadaruma. So she like. They're about to like get shot by all these guards, and she like jumps on one of the guards' guns and like keeps him from. And like his gun goes off and ends up hitting.
It shoots him through both the eyes.
Yeah,
it kind of hits him sideways, and
hits him sideways. It goes across the bridge of his nose and makes him blind. But before he does that, he throws Nadaruma like through the doors as they close. And then when she hears the gunshot go off, she basically uses her magic tentacle powers to like rip the door open and, I don't know, basically turn the guard into Section Blood Mist.
Yeah, she crushes him good.
Absolutely crushes him, and it's pretty gnarly.
And then, they're about to get captured again because, there's plenty of guards around.
Yes, guards.
Not easy to escape.
Everywhere and shit.
And frickin', this is when the robot shows up. So he looks like an old man, but it's really a robot.
Looks like an old dwarf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and he grabs him and escapes with him, right? And then he gets in the Orguss 02, which he has there, and takes him back to it's like the ruins of a space elevator.
Yeah.
Right, which is in the zone. If you remember the last episode, we talked about the zone, a place that was guarded by a bunch of robots, right?
And you finally get to the point where it ties into the original series.
Yes.
And it makes the original end of the original series less stupid because they explain to you what happened.
Kind of. This explains what happens with one piece of the original series. So
it makes more sense.
It makes it a little more satisfying because the original series is a little more ambiguous without this.
Yeah.
So, because this guy's a robot and there's robots guarding this place, the whole idea is, and this was the same thing in the original series, is there's a bunch of dimensions that they were starting to overlap. There was this thing called like a space-time bomb.
Time continuum bomb?
Yeah, whatever the hell it is. And, they set them off. They set one off in the original series, and then it was kind of making the dimensions go crazy, and then they set it off again. And what happened at the end is, rather than like setting up, realigning everything, right? Like kind of fixing everything, it patchworked everything. It took these like 4 realities that were overlapping and just like patchwork the shit out of them.
So those things from realities that did belong there, that got stuck there.
So like these robots were here and they were not from this reality, and like,
but they were like stuck here.
Nadaruma is not from this reality either. She's from a different one from the robots and from this one.
Yeah, so, she's like the only one from that reality that's stuck there because
it's like a Witcher conjunction of the spheres kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
basically
same kind of idea. So anyway. They learn about all this, and the robot's been hard at work for the last 200 years.
Trying to track down
Nadaruma, but he also built the Orguss 02. He fixed himself. It took him like 20 years to fix himself. And he also built another.
He was missing like limbs and shit. He was a fucking mess.
He was slacking. And then
you're a lazy robot.
A lot of robots around. And then he built another space-time bomb that he wants to use which I don't know why the space-time bomb is the solution to all problems, but he wants to use it to realign the worlds. Like, let me unpatchwork this shit. I'm going to use Nadaruma as like a tuner, like an Olin for the Razafon fans, right? And I'm going to, let's tune this and get everybody back to the normal realities so this craziness can stop.
I don't know why they call it a bomb. Like, usually if you can precisely tune something, it's not a bomb.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really work like a bomb either. So
it's the space-time precision guided.
Japan's got Japanese has like 5 words for everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Whatever.
Not 5 words for everything, but they have 5 words that they use for everything.
Basically.
Anyway, so while all this is going on, they're still trying to stop that huge giant freaking robot that was coming in to take down
that
Revelia.
Big orange and purple and lime green.
Yeah.
Goofy-ass looking robot.
So awesome. And it was advancing on him, and they come up with a plan to do it. They send basically suicide armors in with bombs that they had dug up that are really powerful, but
they're like small space.
Sketchy whether they'll work.
Yeah.
Well, no, these are actual bombs, unlike the space-time bomb.
They made like the same kind of thing though. Like,
there's a lot of the bombs in this all make one color of light that blows up into a ball.
It makes a ridiculous purple ball,
and it does different things
to do with time.
And it does different things. So anyway, they try to take it down. They end up blowing it in half. Not quite enough.
Yeah, they take its whole bottom half off, but it can still like drag.
It's still
itself,
like using its hands to go in there.
Drag itself forward.
As
well as like the bottom half of that thing was pretty much pointless anyway.
Yep, and that's when it's revealed that. So before we get to that, the robot took Nadaruma and Lean back to the tower, and he fixed Lean's eyes, but it's going to take a while for him to heal.
Yeah, like
still.
a month or something. So he's pretty much blind for the rest of the series.
Yep. So anyway, that's happening. They're doing that. They're working on tuning, and this thing is now hopping its way to the capital on its arms of Revelia. So the now king, who was the
Manning basically
the derpy guy,
reports to the new king that was the prince before, that was pretending to be derpy, that their plan worked, but it only took the bottom half off it, and it's still dragging itself forward, and it's going to get there eventually. So then there's like this weird island,
it's warm. Like everything else is snowy right now, and the island's warm.
Yeah, that like apparently the prince has been hanging out on for some time, and it turns out that the prince found like this ridiculous, another giant armor like under the ground. But
and it's the ultimate armor.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to he's obsessed with like the land looking beautiful, and he loves that island. So if he basically brings this armor up from underground, it's going to destroy.
He's an eco-terrorist, basically.
Yeah, basically he's an eco-fascist, but he basically doesn't want to ruin the island. But then when Manning tells him that, it's going to get fucked anyway, he's just like, screw it, we'll do it. So then he the only way you can pilot this armor is it basically sticks tentacle, mechadendrites or whatever into you. And
it sticks cables into you, and then it fuses with you, and then you become part robot.
Yeah, and it drives you insane.
Yes, and that's the flaw with the armor. And
that's the key point here. It drives you
insane. The other robot explains this, like, oh yeah, we created this thing, but we had to stop making them because they're, they drove people insane, and then they just go kill everybody.
Yeah, and that's they destroyed all the prototypes they had, and that's the only one that
So the now king goes and smokes the robot. He smokes an entire city with this freaking bomb that makes everybody just cough up all their blood and just die,
which is weird,
which is terrible. And then he just starts going bananas. He starts I'm going to wipe out every city.
He basically wipes out all the major cities in the other kingdom before they can even try to stop him.
Yep. So freaking Lean and Nadaruma are watching this. It turns out while that thing is active, they cannot attune the bomb. It's interfering with the psychic waves.
There's too much shit going on.
So they got to go take it out. I mean, they got to go take it out for both reasons, right? I mean, I think they were trying to
just tune the world because
then it would go. Anyway. Yeah, it would disappear anyway, so they didn't have to worry about it. And destroying it's not going to be easy. So that made sense. But now they realize, well, we got to go take it out using the Orguss. So it's the only thing we got. We got to go take this thing out. So Lean has Nadaruma use her tentacle powers to basically let him be able to see.
Yeah, she sticks her tentacles into his neck. You sure this isn't a hentai?
It's not a hentai. It's only in his neck. Not in other places. So they take off. They're gonna. What's gonna happen, man? They're gonna take out that robot. There's some twists and turns. Freaking guy goes completely crazy. Tries to blow up the whole world. Some attunement happens. Hey, happy days.
Manning pulls it out at the end.
Yeah,
Not
you
being a
you get
dick.
to really appreciate Manning. So,
Manning has a very solid character arc. And it's not always... It's good because they don't always make it obvious that he's going to go that way. At any point, you're like, this guy's a shitbag, and he's going to be a shitbag.
So yeah,
You
let's
know
talk
what I mean?
about all the things we liked about it, and that's the first for sure. Is Manning is one of the best characters I think I've ever seen in an OVA, at least. When you know you don't have like a ton of time to explore the character, right?
Exactly.
You got 6 episodes only. He's excellent. It's just an excellent character. Like, yeah, he's not perfect. He's not even really nice or great.
Nope.
But he's not evil either.
No.
Like, he helps Lean's friend there escape, right? So
Yeah.
she doesn't get killed after she,
Toya, I think her name was.
whatever her name
I
was.
think it was Toya.
To freaking, after she helped Lean escape with Nadaruma.
Yeah, she
was
gets
gonna
captured.
get tortured and killed. He helps her escape. He's not a terrible guy, but he's not great. He's got a lot of ex-wives with kids that he doesn't really see.
And he alludes to the fact that he grew up extremely, like, in extreme
Yes.
poverty. So he's just like one of those do anything for money guys.
But
And it turns out he was working,
yeah, we said that.
For the
He's working
prince.
for the
because he,
Now king, well,
there was obviously like
the guy you end up having to kill at the end.
super evil shenanigans going on.
Yep. So his character arc is just great, and it's a great character. And I'll say this too, because this is one of my other things is the facial expressions.
Oh yeah, it's animated.
He has great ones, but I mean, my God, they do an excellent job with the facial expressions of everybody.
Yeah, because there would have had to been more dialogue. To
Yes.
explain things if they hadn't put such detail.
If they
into,
looked like
the
freaking
body
Gundam Seed characters,
yeah,
this would
like
be a
the body
problem.
language and facial expressions are fucking great.
They're dead on. They're really, really well done. Like, you could tell what people are thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like you said, it's such a better shortcut. One, it just makes everything better, and two, it's such a better not shortcut, but it saves the need for a bunch of unnecessary expositional
Oh
dialogue.
man, how much stuff now is just like endless hours of like them explaining to you, retarded audience member, like exactly what's going on.
Yeah, even though they shouldn't have to do that,
No.
they should just be better at storytelling and not treat you like
My
you're dumb.
Point exactly.
Exactly.
So it's nice to see like good quality storytelling, and I mean, it's a visual medium.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Like if you can't tell part of the story,
correct.
with whatever.
It may as well be prose.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because then you have to do that. So, excellent. Just excellent work there. Animation overall is really, really good. It's that really good early 90s, like...
The end of hand-drawn animation.
Yeah.
Like probably the height of its power.
And really, bright colors. So it's not... the problem with a lot of the 80s stuff is...
It's very, like,
early 80s,
subdued.
It's
the
subdued.
colors,
It's more
yeah.
washed out, which some people like that style, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not. But I really like this early to mid-90s style.
Well, you get the quality of the line art with the color pop.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's like Area Zero
Yeah, that
was
was a
really
really
good.
good one,
The 08th MS team, probably something a lot of people have seen, has that same style where it's just
Yeah, definitely.
it's so pretty. Like, it's just good animation.
I think 8th MS team was digitally colored. I'm
It
not
probably
sure
was.
about that.
This might have been too. I didn't really look into
think
that
so,
deep.
but it's possible.
That might
Digital
be why
color
it's
just
so right,
has that, I don't know, digital look. It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of tell though.
So yeah, this animation's excellent. Regardless, the animations are really good. It's very fluid too. It's not just it looks pretty. Like, it's very fluid too.
Yeah, I got my hands on a Blu-ray rip, but I don't know if it exists over here to buy. If it does, I'm 100% gonna buy it.
Yeah, I will pay.
God, they cleaned it up, and it
If
looks
I can find a
fucking
version with
so good.
English subtitles anywhere that's not an unholy fortune, I need it.
Yeah,
it's
because it's so nice.
It's excellent. It's very, very good. Trying to think what else. What
Lean
it does
is
for Orguss.
Lean is a great main character.
Lean's a great main character. I mean, what it does for Orguss, right? So story-wise, like you said earlier,
Oh yeah, because Orguss is such a letdown at the end. It's just got
really
this
is.
like cop out, like dimension.
it's got a cop-out. It's a very Stephen King ending. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
cop-out, multi-reality. Like, when every reality is a possibility, that's not an ending. That's a cop-out.
Yep.
That's not helping. This, I think, works out a little better. Now, it's not going to tell you what happened. I mean, it's 200 years after the
Yeah, exactly.
last one. So, I mean, any character from the last one is long gone.
Yeah.
So you're never really going to find out what happened there. But it's still more satisfying from a world building standpoint.
Yeah, because there's just so many questions at the end of the first one. You're like, oh man,
Yeah.
why'd I waste all that time? Yeah, it's a good tie-up.
Good action too. You know, it's a
Yeah, it did drag.
it's-
I mean, there were a few episodes where like they had to get a lot of like storytelling done, and there wasn't a ton of action.
but it's the right amount, right? It's paced well because you appreciate the action more because everything's not action.
yeah. Plus, like you had to get. Naruto needs a lot of character building because she's just such a.
Nadaruma, yeah.
Oh, Nadaruma. I always mispronounce her name. But
I'm sure I am too.
no, Nadaruma. Yeah, no, it's right. Well, I was like reading it wrong the first half of the
Yeah,
series,
sure.
and I'm like, God damn, I gotta correct it. But she needs a ton of character building because she's just like she was treated insanely poorly her whole life, and she's
Yes.
just she does not want to let Lee help her.
You completely
and she's
understand
such
why.
an insane bitch.
Why
but
she's so horrible.
it
by
makes
the end.
perfect sense, and it takes like it takes her several. And it should. It takes her several episodes to actually trust that Lean has her best interests. at
But you
heart.
don't need 12 episodes of flashbacks to get that.
Yeah,
There
they don't
you
even
go.
give you a flashback of what her actual deal is until like the last episode.
Yeah,
right?
and it's only a little bit. It's only a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It
But it's
doesn't
all
treat
you
the
need to
audience
know.
like they're stupid. It treats the audience like they're smart.
Yes, and
You
it's
can
all
figure
you need
things
to know
out.
about her. You
Yep.
know what I mean? She just like because the
And-
robot explains some of it too.
And you know what else is good? You don't need to have seen a single episode of the original Orguss for it to be good. It's written in such a way that, yes, it is satisfying if you've seen the original Orguss, but it also is completely standalone.
Oh no, I originally watched it as a standalone.
Well,
And,
I did too. Because
need-
Orguss came out after this
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, that was when they were dumping all the super dimensional stuff.
Yeah. So excellent. I can't say enough good things about it. Normally I talk about things I don't like about it. There's nothing I don't like about it.
Nah, it's like one of the most solid things I've ever watched. Really.
It's just
Start
I
to
cannot
finish.
believe it is not more well known and not more well liked. It is
Yeah.
a true hidden gem. Like, my God, why is this not up there with 08th MS Team? Well, it doesn't have the Gundam name, I suppose, but it's a Super Dimension series. All right,
got a
maybe
little
not.
play.
But yeah, why does it have such little play? Because it is so good. Like,
You know what? The super dimensional shit would have popped off so much harder if fucking Harmony Gold hadn't hoarded Robotech for so long. You know what I mean?
really
Just
screwed
the
everything up.
licensing shit like fucked up that whole thing. It's so sad.
Yep.
And I mean, it's as far as I know, Harmony Gold doesn't like finally coughed it up, right?
Yeah, they came to some sort of deal with like Big West so that allegedly we're going to get actual distribution of Macross stuff over here, which is great. I'll buy the shit out of original Macross again. I own it like 5 times. I'll buy it again.
I do have it like.
Give me an excellent Blu-ray. I'll buy
Yeah,
it.
'cause did they redub it? Oh no, they dubbed
They
original.
did.
Macross.
That one I don't own.
Because
That was-
I own the whole Robotech box.
yeah, Funny did the re-release of Macross. I didn't buy that one because I just bought the cleaned up. Was it Anime Ego or whoever they did the one right
Yeah.
before that? That's just sub only. I had that. That was good enough. But I'd buy a Blu-ray. I buy a Blu-ray yesterday, a cleaned up one. Hell yeah.
The story isn't that much different.
I'll buy Macross Frontier. I'll buy that up. I'd buy Do You Remember Love, even though just
Frontier
because
was
it's
really
pretty,
good.
the story's dumb.
Frontier was really good. Oh, Macross Plus.
Oh, Macross Plus, absolutely. I love Macross Plus. I'm gonna cover that too.
Yeah, we should do a video on that one. Put it on
But,
the list.
Macross 7 can stay where it is. I don't need that one.
Oh man, that was such a chore to watch that
I
fucking
know.
series.
If it was only about gambling, it'd be so much better.
Yeah, it was so frustrating. Not to get on a tangent about this, because I'll go on about it all day. But God, it should have just been the gambling show.
Yeah.
like the secondary character was infinitely
there you
better
go.
than the main character.
There you go. The only negative thing we have to say about Orguss 02 is that Macross 7 is terrible.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with anything.
You got to like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon that one.
Yeah,
but,
God, I don't even know where you'd find Orguss 02. I know it's out
I
on
poked
DVD.
around. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. This one, depending on your region, you might have to put on your tricorn hat or your bandana
Yeah, I mean,
and go take a look.
that I guarantee you.
But I mean, if this is available for sale for you, or it becomes whoever I gotta talk to, like I will pay good money for this. Maybe not $300 good money because I'm not paying them Japanese prices.
If they
but
start re-releasing Macross and all that stuff again, it'll probably lead to Most Piata and Southern Cross.
I'd buy Most Piata again. I suppose I'd buy Southern Cross just to support them, but Southern Cross was so weird.
So wacky and retarded and filled with unnecessary like shower scenes. It's like what the
That's
fuck?
everything about
is
that. Anyway,
going on?
we're tangenting here.
But anyway, if they start re-releasing all that stuff because there's money in rebooting, like not rebooting, but re-releasing all the super dimensional shit together.
Yep.
You will probably get Orguss 2. Because what would it cost to just take the Japanese Blu-ray that already exists?
Yeah, and the existing subtitles.
And jam them together.
I mean, I can't imagine paying for new subtitles would cost you much either, but that's beside the point.
That sub
Translations.
is fine.
It's only 6 episodes.
One, you know what I mean? There's nothing weird about that subtitling thing. Anyway, man, 59 minutes and 30 seconds. I didn't even look at the clock. We're good. But anyway, that is it for today. We'll catch you next time. And remember, kids, doing what you're told is not punk, no matter what anyone tells you.
Word. Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.